27th of April 2022, the evening message. Let it be all the same to the essence. This is not twins. This is not all types of amount of twins here. Being all the same is not about anything in being the same. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, all the same. Inside and outside, then there will be no discrimination. There will be no differentiations. There will be no blessers or the one who are being blessed. No differentiations, no discriminations. This is not about being a twin. Share the essence all the same. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, all the same, internally and externally. This will dissolve the habits of being specific, being for the sake of oneself, being specific with looking, seeing and knowing, tasting, shape, sounds, being specific with the body, feelings, and all that. This will dissolve the kind of habits that is all about being specific. This is the narrowness, which is the entrapment of the suffering in itself. Let it be all the same, disregard all the same, disregard even from the disregard itself. Then there will be no trouble in blessing, because there is the purification for the blessers and the blessed at once. It will not be about the knower and the known altogether. It will not be about the blessers and the blessed. There will be no meanings as being samsara or nibbana. Nibbana or samsara will not be with meanings. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, all the same. This will purify the system of deluded viewpoints. The delusion within insight, within knowing or not knowing. There will be purification of the delusion in knowing or not knowing. It will be purified totally. This is not about something in being the same. The purification of the extinction and the emptiness is to be shared all the same. This will be beyond being hot or cold, or the boiling in the mind will be beyond it. There is extreme heat because of the togetherness that the mind put into the feelings itself, internally and externally. It will not be about the blessers and the blessed altogether. Let there be the same essence evenly, disregard even from the disregard itself, all the same. Then there will be no differentiations by the Tithi, deluded viewpoint. There will be no discriminations. This has nothing to do with the usage of the mind or viewpoint, knowing or not knowing. It will have nothing to do with the usage of the insight or not. Disregard from the disregard itself has nothing to do with the usage of the mind. Therefore, there is no discrimination because there is no titi. There is no differentiation because there is no titi. When there is no blessers or the blessed, that's done. This is not just about disregard even from the disregard itself. This means that the disregard discards itself. It doesn't grasp itself. It's not about anything within the disregard itself. This is not just about disregarding. Is there enlightenment or cutting deluded knowing? Disregard from the disregard itself. The disregard has nothing to do with itself. The disregard discards itself. It's not about anything within the disregard itself. Let there be all the same throughout. It will be by the essence of Nirodha, which has no meaning within itself. It will be by Nibbana, which has no meaning in itself. Otherwise, there will be an obsession with variations, differentiations, on and on. What's that? That's the vibhak, karmic difficulties, karmic retributions. This is all the variations of differentiations in titi. The disregard discards itself. It doesn't grasp itself. This is not only about just disregarding. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, it purifies itself. However, let there be simultaneous with all things. It's already mentioned, the enlightenment and the blessing has to be one, in one sentence, all the same. then it will be beyond the climate, beyond all things, all elements. When it is not disregarding within the perceptions of seeing, knowing, looking, there is only clashes, clashes and clashes. Just plus, 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 senses, perceptions, on and on. This is all about clashes, contact, not disregarding. Therefore, there are only clashes and contacts, only senses. There are only Vedana, sensations and senses and hindrances. Disregard all the same. This is not for the sake of oneself. The extinction is not for the sake of oneself. In the way of grasping, share it all the same. Share it. When there is no overlaying of the grasping, that's it. It's over. Ending to help samsara. Right away. This is to help samsara. Ending to help samsara. This has nothing to do with being humans or non-humans, tangible or intangibles. This has nothing to do with all things or all elements, samsara or nibbana. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, has nothing to do with being samsara or nibbana at all. Uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, it has nothing to do with being samsara or nibbana. It has nothing to do with being Buddhas or being the beings. Uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, all the same. Then it has nothing to do with anything at all. It has nothing to do with being Buddhas or being the beingness. This will be even by Nibbana as it is right now. It will be evenly shared by Nibbana as it is, without meanings as it is in all things. This will have nothing to do with being high realms, medium realms or lower realms automatically. It has nothing to do with the uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself. This has nothing to do with arising or ceasing. It has nothing to do with attempting to arise or to cease. Share the essence all the same. Disregard. The disregard that is not about anything and anything, share it all the same. The disregard that is not about anything as it is, share it all the same. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Share it all the same, simultaneously. This will not be about being tangibles or intangibles. Nothing in being tangible or intangible automatically. Don't let there be discrimination or differentiations. Share the essence all the same. Disregard even from the disregard itself all the same. Then there will be no discriminations. To be obsessed with being the blesser or the blessed, then there is always differentiations, no balance yet. The disregard hasn't been to be taken in to oneself. Share it simultaneously towards all things. The disregard like that is blocked in itself. It has to be shared towards all things and all elements. Then it will be the disregard that doesn't grasp itself truly. The disregard within oneself, there is the overlaying of the grasping mind, discreetly, obsessively searching for benefits for oneself. simultaneously with the awakening and the brightening, disregard even from the disregard itself, to be given all the same simultaneously with the awakening and the brightening. Clear the karmic difficulties. Don't let there be the leftover, all the form up of behaviors. Disregard, even from the disregard itself simultaneously. Let's purify it simultaneously and more often. Don't let there be the leftover as the garbage of the karmic difficulties. The internal is not the internal, the external is not the external. This will be no discriminations. If there is, if it is still internal or external, having meanings in it, then there is always troublesome, on and on. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, well, then it will have nothing to do with the internal or the external naturally. Simultaneously with senses and sense perceptions. Simultaneously with all and everything. Whether it is samsara or not, share the essence simultaneously with all. Sharing the essence all the same to the uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself. It turns into helping one another through the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, back and forth. This will be lightened up in blessing for one another. The intangible helps the tangibles. The tangible helps the intangibles. Through the purification of the extinction, then it is lightened up for one another in blessing. There is no need to distinguish whether it is the beings or not. Then it will be in balance by no obstructions as it is, no fixation as it is, Nirodha as it is, Nibbana as it is. There is no need to distinguish whether it is the beings or not. Share the essence all the same. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself simultaneously. Don't be obsessed with sightseeing, senses, sense perceptions. Don't be obsessed with just senses, sense perceptions, and clashes. Purify through the extinction, purify through the extinctions all the same. Let's make a conclusion through the purification of the extinction towards ending altogether. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Don't be obsessed with senses, contacts, and clashes. The disregard is not about anything within itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself is not about anything within the disregard itself. Let it be absolute, simultaneously, altogether. There is no need to distinguish the elements, the beings, Dharma, or anything. Let's help through the unwinding and releasing altogether. Nothing is within the disregarding altogether simultaneously. For every formed up of behaviors, for each formed up of situations, for each formed up, whether it is formed up or not, let's share the essence simultaneously all together. that which is not about anything within the disregard itself to be shared simultaneously, whether there is a formed up things or not, then there will be a purification. There will be a balance through the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, which will happen automatically. Let's purify the knower simultaneously. Don't let there be only just senses and contact. Continue to purify. Involve with the disregarding continuously. Don't let there be only about the seer and the knower, contacts and clashes. That's the karmic difficulties. Each conclusion, each purification, don't let there be the leftover of the seer and the knower. Simultaneously purifying the seer and the knower. Don't let there be the seer and the knower alone. Form it up and purify it simultaneously. Don't just form up the actions. Don't be so narrow and limited to a certain extent. Open up beyond the opening itself. disregard even from the disregard itself. The disregard discards itself, it doesn't grasp itself. It's beyond normal opening. To be obsessed with being specific to certain extents, you know what it is? Being deludedly making oneself fakely to become continuously as a burden. Being obstructed by oneself to create a burden on and on. Being limited to a certain extent, it becomes a burden continuously. Disregard is not about anything within itself, absolutely, that's all. Uninvolved with the disregard itself, absolutely. Don't be weakened. Involve within itself so that it will give up the maintaining of the mind. maintaining state of mind will be given up. The uninvolved doesn't grasp itself, the disregard doesn't grasp itself. It's not about anything within the uninvolved itself. Nothing is in the uninvolved itself simultaneously with eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, internally and externally. There is no need steps at all. The enlightenment and the blessing has to be simultaneously given. The ending and helping through the ending has to be simultaneous. Not taking in the disregard itself. Simultaneously towards all and everything. That is the unwinding that doesn't take in itself. The unwinding is not relevant to itself. The disregard is not relevant to itself. That's the disregard that doesn't grab itself. The unwinding doesn't grab itself. Share it simultaneously. All the same, which has nothing in it, in being the same. Go ahead, disregard all the same. Simultaneously. Don't return to being ordinary into stillness or indifference or sinking. Don't return to be in such a way. Nothing is within the unresolved itself. Everything is not about anything within the unresolved itself. Nothing is in the disregard itself. That is true disregarding without traces of the disregarding. No traces of disregarding within itself. The unevolved that is not about anything within itself. Nothing is within the unevolved itself to be shared simultaneously, all the same with everything. May all realms of existence, all behaviors of words, thoughts and actions which has been setting up to gain, to attain, forming up and fixated to it, may everything be forgiven. Ahosi, Ahosi, Ahosi.